Howdy everyone. My name is Professor Zomboid, and welcome to the class. Today we will run through an instruction on poisonous berries. How much is too much when your life is on the line? Certainly not a question you want to face when you're staring down the barrel of a hungry belly. So we put the effort in to make sure you don't have to. First we'll go over the basics when it comes to berries. Berries are edible items that can be foraged in various areas out in the wild. There are two categories of berries: poor and superior. The difference is only the amount of hunger they quell. Poor berries have a stat of -5 hunger, while superior berries have a stat reduction of -10 hunger. Both have a stat reduction of -1 thirst, though that is negligible at best. However, a killer lurks in the shadows wherever berries are found. One of the berries, chosen at random whenever a world is spawned, will be a potentially deadly poison. It can either be a poor or a superior berry, though as I said before, only one type of berry at a time can be poisonous. Poisonous berries can only be discovered in 3 ways. One potential way is to find a herbalist magazine. These can be found in various mailboxes, bookshelves, postal vans, post offices, or libraries around Knox County, and once read, your survivor will have the ability to distinguish between safe and unsafe berries. A second potential way is to take the herbalist trait. It has the same benefits as the magazine, though you'll know the information as soon as your character spawns. This allows you a bit of immediate leeway where survival is concerned. If you can't find food or come under attack before you have any chance to scavenge a house, you'll be able to forage for food wherever you can find it in the wild. The third and final method, being also the riskiest, is to just try them. Assuming you have enough food on hand to keep yourself well fed in the event of being poisoned, once you grow a bit queasy after eating a particular color or type of berry, memorize it, write it down on a note, and keep it around so you can locate a herbalist magazine to confirm your suspicions. But the bigger question we have today: how many of these poisonous delights are enough to end your chances at surviving the apocalypse, and how many can you get away with eating when food is scarce? To test this, we have 3 groups, split into perk choices that directly affect how your survivor can react upon eating poisonous berries. The 3 groups are the weak stomach group, the iron gut group, and a group with neither perk to act as a control. These scenarios will assume 2 things. One being that you already know that the berries you are about to eat are poisonous. 2, that in the event you become sick, you have enough food and water to keep yourself above the negative, meaning you're not hungry, you're not thirsty, you sleep whenever possible, and you exert yourself as little as possible. Before running the tests, I installed the mod Cheat Menu version 2.9.1 by Ethan WDP. This was to ensure a best case scenario when it came to hunger and thirst at all times, ensuring the results weren't marred by human error, additionally to acquire large amounts of poisonous berries, and to prevent interruptions. For each group, we tracked the number of berries consumed, the maximum sickness moodle achieved through consumption, and the damage level reached upon consumption. The test assumes that you were both completely healthy prior to consumption and you hadn't had any other poisonous or rotten foods recently. Each amount of berries were consumed 5 times under these exact conditions to ensure consistency. Now that all of that is out of the way, let us start with the control group. Survivors in the control group upon eating these poisonous berries will be perfectly fine up to 2 berries consumed. There will be no ill effects nor damage taken after consumption, giving the control group a safe method to receive up to -20 hunger, depending on whether or not both berries were superior or not. Control survivors will get the queasy moodle upon consumption of 3 berries, making any potential overexertion, hunger, or thirst after the fact potentially dangerous within the next few hours. However, if you stay fed and hydrated after this, you should be completely fine. Five berries, and we're finally getting into potentially deadlier territory. The survivor, even in the best case scenario, will receive moderate damage and gain the sick moodle. It is highly unsafe to tread into eating this many berries as a control group member without adequate planning prior to ensure you can maintain a satisfactory level of thirst and hunger. Upon the consumption of 6 berries, a control group survivor will likely die. Within hours of consumption, the survivor will fall into a fever, and if left untreated, will succumb and die within the day. Assuming you've no way to solve either of these problems, you'll no longer need to worry about surviving the Nox event. Moving on to the next group, those with the weak stomach trait can only consume 1 poisonous berry with no ill effects or damage. If you aren't sure what berries are safe, it will never hurt to only eat 1 berry. This effectively is the only quote-unquote safe way of consuming unknown berries with this trait. Consumption of 2 berries will result in the survivor becoming nauseous and taking minor damage in the process. If they aren't hungry or thirsty in any way throughout the sickness, however, this would be a safe method of testing for poisonous berries with the weak stomach trait. After eating 3 poisonous berries, however, the weak stomach group's chances of survival drop to 0 if you've no way of fighting a fever, which will quickly set in and kill the survivor. Next, we move on to the iron gut group. This perk is the opposite of weak stomach, so I was certainly expecting results that were superior to the control group. I was certainly not disappointed, as through all 5 attempts, the iron gut survivors successfully ate up to 4 poisonous berries, with virtually no ill effects whatsoever. Now, this was hardly surprising. It was twice as many berries as the control group and 4 times more than the weak stomach group. But what absolutely floored me in testing was how many the iron gut could consume without taking any form of damage whatsoever. In fact, with the worst moodle we received being nauseous, survivors in this group still took absolutely no damage to their health, even after 8 poisonous berries. Assuming you're not hungry or thirsty the entire time, you can get up to minus 80 hunger with virtually no downside, outside of a few moodles that don't mean a lot. Now, of course, once you pass 8, the damage starts rolling in, but initially it's still very little. 9 berries will get you the nauseous moodle and will still only take slight damage to your health, though 10 berries will make the survivor sick and result in minor damage. In the end, this affords iron gut survivors who only sacrifice 3 perk points the ability to eat up to 10 poisonous berries for a maximum of minus 100 hunger. If you are on the verge of starvation, the risks seem quite minimal if there's no other food around. Now, once you consume numbers of poisonous berries upwards of 11 and 12, the real dangers start creeping in. 11 berries will make you sick and put your survivor in a level of moderate damage, survivable but very ill-advised. Last but not least, we hit the number 12. Unsurprising, double the amount of berries that would have killed off our control group. And sadly, the difference is minimal here. Assuming you don't have a way to control the fever that comes with this amount, the toxins will ultimately kill your survivor. But hey, at least you died on a full stomach. Clearly, while these berries are dangerous, it turns out that if treated with care, these potential hazards in waiting can become assets that not only allow you to survive, but thrive. Perhaps I've given you a reason to pick up iron gut for the first time, or perhaps you've decided weak stomach isn't so bad of a trait after all. Nonetheless, I'd like to remind potential survivors that while you can simply eat a certain amount of these berries with no ill effects, regardless of your perk choice, that you should primarily use this method of eating to supplement the rest of your diet and make whatever proper food stores you have last longer. That said, we've come to the end of the video. Again, if you'd like to see the spreadsheet I created for this quote-unquote experiment, I'll have a link to it down in the description for your viewing. Did you enjoy the video? If you did, please subscribe for more. Leave a comment on your opinions on how this method of survival has or hasn't worked for you, and in the end, thank you for watching. Now, class dismissed. You have a good day.